afternoon. Welcome to the Forum of the Hong Kong Young Leaders Program 2020 on diversifying Hong Kong's economy and creating youth employment opportunities, hosted by GIFT, the Global Institute for Tomorrow. Thank you. I am Carmen Choi from Poland Co, MC of today, and one of the participants of the program. This year, we could not hold the forum physically and meet in person due to pandemic, but challenges give opportunities. We transit the forum online and so delighted to have over 400 audience from all over the world like China, Germany, Malaysia, Korea, and Japan. Welcome you all. Woo! To begin with, we have the opening remarks by Mr. Chandran Nair, the founder and CEO of GIFT. Chandran, please.
Thank you, Carmen, and to everyone who's out there who've signed up to listen to us. I want to really say we greatly appreciate you taking the time to do this. So good afternoon to those of you in Asia, good morning to those in Europe, and I suppose it's a good night somewhere in the USA, if there's anyone in the USA. But thank you so much, everyone. This is the first time that we're doing it online, so it's been an experience for us as well. And we are hoping the technology works, the gods are with us, and everything goes very quickly, smoothly. What's most important is that you have all joined us to listen to some what I hope would be very inspiring ideas that a group of young people from Hong Kong have put together. For those of my friends from all over the world who've signed up from this, you all know that our Global Leaders Program and how we do this. Some of you will also know that about 5 years ago, we started something called the Young Leaders Program in Hong Kong. And it's the timing is rather correct to remind us of the origins of that program. That program originated after the first what was called the Yellow Umbrella protest movement in 2015. We started that having done our leadership programs across the region and different parts of the world. The Hong Kong Jockey Club approached us and said, why don't you do something in Hong Kong as well? So we started that program then, and we've made it a point to do one every year. We do this, and the whole focus is on creating a platform where young Hong Kong people from all sectors, government, business, and civil society can come together, discuss issues of common interest to them, and most importantly, use the methodologies that we have refined over the years to create ideas that are then not proprietary to anyone, but essentially put out in the public space so that the government can use it, private sector can use it, and civil society can use that. So this is the 6th year. And this year we thought, will we be able to do it? So any one of you who's been watching the events around the world will know that Hong Kong has had two periods of great challenges that it imposed on the society. Last year we had the unrest, and this year we've had the pandemic as well, which has affected the world. Yet we were determined that we would do this, and in some work that the Global Institute has done in Hong Kong, going back about 4 or 5 months ago, one of the things that most people said in Hong Kong was, we will have to find ways to diversify the economy. It's the underlying challenge for Hong Kong. We will also have to find ways to diversify the economy in ways that provides opportunities for Hong Kong's next generation right across the economic spectrum. Those of us who live in Hong Kong know that the opportunities in various parts of the economy are rather narrow because the economy's sort of been hollowed out. Everyone in Hong Kong is determined, in my view, to try and change that. Because if we can change that, then we essentially create a very different view of how Hong Kong will operate and survive. What it has shown, although, that this is a very resilient society. This is a society that has been battered for the last 18 months, yet has stayed together. We had the protests, we had the COVID. And one of the things I say when I speak about Hong Kong to try and edify people about the resilience of this city is that despite all of that, the people of Hong Kong came together, And by the people, I mean the government, the business community, the civil society groups, and took on the challenge of the pandemic in ways that very few other places have. So despite the fact that we've had a few spikes here and there, I don't know what it is like to be in a complete lockdown. I've been privileged to live in Hong Kong, where the social contract that people in this society sign up to, despite political differences, etc., has made it one of the safest places in the world to be in. And so people like me, we stay here and we think, we don't know. When I spoke to family and friends in other parts of the world who haven't gone out of the house, can't do this and that, we don't do that. But we do behave very well. We abide by the rules and we do the right thing. So I feel extremely honored that we were able to do this year's program. It would have been such a shame not to do it. And so we have done it. And we focused on a message that we got from everybody over the last 10 months. And also, especially when we did some work looking at the future of Hong Kong. And that was, how do we diversify this economy? This incredibly vibrant city, how do we diversify it? And how do we also create jobs and opportunities that are so or well-rounded that they provide for meaningful work, no matter which part of the economic spectrum you come from. And that is the challenge we impose. We propose to this cohort of 21 young people you will listen to. And I think they have some very good ideas. I'll finish off by saying that what you will hear in the next 45 minutes is the tip of the iceberg of the work that's been done. So you'll get the main points, the gist of what they have produced, but the full report will be available in about 2 or 3 weeks. That full report is about 100 pages. It has got a lot of detail in it. And again, it's not owned by us. It's not proprietary to us. It'll be disseminated widely, both within Hong Kong to policymakers, to people in government, and to civil society, and people around the world who are interested in supporting Hong Kong as we navigate these challenges. So with that, let me now just stop, hand over to the people who've done the work, who were all, by the way, working up till about 2 a.m. last night, finishing off both the full report and what you will hear today, which is essentially the gist of their suggestions and findings. So please listen up. Anyone's got some money to invest in some of these ideas, please put your hands up and let us know how you want to get involved. But let me stop there and invite the next stage of the presentation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Chandran. So now we come to the agenda for today. First, we will introduce about the Hong Kong Young Leaders Program that we have go through. Then we will come to the background of the project and our vision. Also, the policy proposals in 4 key areas of healthcare, biotechnology, aviation, urban and green tech. After the presentation, we will have the VIP guest remarks and Q&A session. You could type the questions in the Q&A box throughout the presentation, and we will wrap up and answer in the Q&A session. Lastly, we will have the concluding remarks. So, who we are? We consist of 21 talents from various sectors, like the government sector, the education sector, the non-governmental organizations, and some entrepreneurs from startups participating in the program this year. Together with the gift facilitator, Mr. Chandran Laya, and Mr. Eric Streisand, also the gift team members, Ms. Olivia Lai, Ms. Ella Wong, and Mr. Dickie Chow. And we will take these opportunities to especially thank our program sponsors, Tan Fong Charitable Foundation, the CLP Group, the Lanson Foundation, the River Star Foundation, who sponsored the participation of nonprofits and startups. Thank you. In the previous couple of weeks, we have experienced a fruitful journey, especially on polishing our leadership skills in the aspect of global knowledge and awareness, critical thinking, assertive and constructive communication, and engagement with empathy. For me, as a leader, the most important thing is to capture the moment, to contribute our learning, to make some changes and bring impact to the society. And we committed to create some policy proposals and recommendations. And we would like to take this chance to share with all of you. During the process, we have interviewed a wide range of stakeholders from related industries in order to have a better understanding on concerned areas and to develop a more comprehensive policy proposal. Here, we thank and appreciate all the stakeholders involved. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce the presentation team who will share the big ideas on policy proposal in these key areas, addressing the challenges faced in Hong Kong to expand the economy and create job opportunities for young generation. Here we will have the background and vision of our project by Ms. Candace Chan from Invest Hong Kong. The healthcare area by Ms. Tiffany Fong from Social Ventures Hong Kong. The biotechnology area by Ms. Cora Mock from Community Business. The aviation area by Mr. Alice Tom from co-founder of Glide. Last but not least, the urban and green tech area by Mr. James Leung from Vocational Training Council. And now I will pass the stage to Ms. Candace Chan to introduce the project background and our vision. Thank you.
Hello, Invest Hong Kong colleagues. I'm Candace Chan from Invest Hong Kong. As you may know, Hong Kong was struck by the social unrest and pandemic outbreak since last year, and it revealed Hong Kong's fragile economy if we focus on certain sectors such as tourism and finance industry. And the unemployment rate has doubled to 6%, especially for the youth unemployment rate, which a record high at about 11%. After speaking with all the stakeholders, we think Hong Kong needs to diversify its economy and create more jobs for young people. That is why we come up with the following vision statement to support our policy proposals. Our vision is to make Hong Kong a city which is people-centric, with a vibrant and diverse economy that is socially cohesive, and one which allows the young generation to fulfill their aspirations through equal opportunities to live a purposeful and gainful life. Thank you. There are four major components in the vision, for which is people-centric, vibrant and diverse economy, socially cohesive, purposeful and gainful life. A society committed to building a social contract, rooted in reducing inequalities based on the principles of community care and equal opportunities for all. For vibrant and diverse economy, it enables the social mobility by building a diversified economy that provides job opportunities for all, reduces social and economic inequalities, is inclusive and geared towards addressing societal needs. For socially cohesive, it investing in long-term socio-economic policies backed by a modern education system to build a socially cohesive society that is both fair and happier. For purposeful and gainful life, to fulfill the aspirations of the next generation of the future, to ensure access to meaningful work which adds value to society and improve the quality of life. And we have 4 key focus areas that we believe have great potential in Hong Kong. For the healthcare sector, which covers the care aging scheme and community wellness clubhouse policies. For biotechnology, it covers R&D center and food production policies. For aviation, it covers international training center and one-stop MRO, which is maintenance, repair, and overhaul. For urban and green tech, it covers building energy efficiency and green innovation fund policies. Next, I will cover why we chose these 4 sectors. Specifically, due to the pandemic outbreak and aging issues, healthcare plays an important role. That's why we come up with policies to address the aging population and mental health issues. For biotechnology, with our world-class healthcare standards, talents, and universities, Hong Kong has R&D capacities in biotech with policy support. For aviation, due to the geographical location, Hong Kong has advantage in aviation industry. Because current education system is fragmented, Hong Kong should take this opportunity by setting up an international aviation training center or academy. Last but not least, is urban and green tech. After facing pandemic outbreaks, we all have reflections on how impactful our human life has placing on the environment and sustainability. With high urban density and energy consumption, Hong Kong can diversify its sustainable economy. Next, I'll pass the time to the 4 presenters who worked very hard on this. First one is Tiffany from healthcare team. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good morning to those of you in Hong Kong. I'm Tiffany from Social Ventures Hong Kong. Today, I'd like to start our presentation with one of the most pressing issues of our time, healthcare. We ask, how can we all live healthily, happily, and sustainably? Actually, the recent pandemic has really inspired all of us to focus on healthcare as something that is essential to everyday life. Healthcare has become a priority on the global and local level. Never have we been talking so much and investing resources into healthcare as today. And we see that there are a lot of opportunities for growth and innovation. At the same time, Hong Kong is actually known for having a world-class healthcare system. We have highly skilled talents that are very equipped to provide care to the community. And as Chandran mentioned, have shown to be resilient during this crisis. So what can Hong Kong do in the current landscape in terms of healthcare? And most importantly, how can youth also step up and take on a key role to address the healthcare challenges of tomorrow? I'd like to point your focus to 2 key challenges that our team focused on for this project. First of all, it is the rapidly aging population. So by 2030, there will be 2 million aging population living in Hong Kong. Yet, young people are not interested to enter into this industry due to repetitive job nature, the long serving hours, and I guess in a nutshell, it's not attractive to them. At the same time, as escalated by the recent pandemic, there is a very urgent mental health crisis that is affecting the whole population. In fact, a recent study showed that 70% of people living in Hong Kong have experienced depressive symptoms over the past 2 years. Amongst the population, youth and vulnerable communities, such as the underprivileged, are most at risk. So really, right now, there is an urgent need for us to take on this challenge and come up with bold solutions that will create a long-lasting impact. For our first proposal, we would like to focus on attracting talent to enter into the caregiving industry. and to re-inject new ideas and innovation to the healthcare system. Targeting to increase the caregiver to elderly ratio from 1 to 5 by 2030, we would like to do this by recommending the launch of a care agent scheme. The care agent scheme is an apprenticeship program developing certified and multidisciplinary skilled caregivers that will then support the current registered elderly centers in Hong Kong. So apart from, in difference to existing programs, this scheme provides an innovative pathway for young people to enter the industry with more attractive incentives, job exposure, cross-sector on-the-job training, and also more promising career development opportunities. As part of this scheme, we would also like to introduce you to the Neighborhood Service Scheme. It is a credit-bearing module that will be implemented in all of Hong Kong's higher education institutions to deploy youth into the community to provide service to those elderly who are living at home. With this, we really believe that caregiving in the future can not only be a profession, it should be a social responsibility and a mission for all. Together, the scheme will create 22,000 jobs by 2030. And that is also the number of jobs that are expected to be needed by 2030 to serve the aging population. So knowing that there will be this shortage and this gap, who can take on the challenge? Young people can. Our second proposal would like to look at the possibility of creating a network of community wellness clubhouses that will be spread across the territory, run by the youth and for the community. Right now, there are around 2,000 active facilities under the LCSD in Hong Kong. The government also recently introduced district health clubs and other integrated centers focusing on mental wellness. However, we do see that there is an opportunity to create more spaces where we talk about health in terms of wellness on a more holistic perspective, and to provide these services in a more accessible, affordable, and exciting way. So our recommendation on this would be to invite the private sector to also contribute to this issue and commit to building more community wellness clubhouses in Hong Kong to serve the underserved communities. By doing this, we hope to mobilize about 1 million underprivileged residents, Hong Kong residents, to spend 10 hours on wellness activities per month in 10 years' time. The reason why, after our analysis, to focus on public-private partnerships is that we see that currently there are already a lot of property developers who are committed to their CSR, their corporate social responsibility agendas, because it not only shows that they are part of society, but that they are also willing to step up and also invest in the well-being of their employees, the stakeholders, and the whole community. So we think that it would be quite feasible to provide incentives through the government to encourage the private sector to play a part and unlock idle resources, whether that's space or capital. And most importantly, these clubhouses will be run by the youth. So we would suggest offering the youth to apply for operator rights so they can determine and better understand the needs of the community and create new ideas for that. At the same time, they will also be in charge of employing other young people to provide services directly to the community. In whole, this proposal, we're projecting to create around 5,000 jobs. And this includes not only wellness experts and certified professionals, but also other young people from a variety of backgrounds, which I think Hong Kong's young people are very good with soft skills, so communication and talking to people. And this would be very powerful if we can employ them in these wellness clubhouses. So overall, with this proposal, we would like to start reshaping Hong Kong's healthcare ecosystem to focus not on sick care, but preventative care, and to promote more active living for all. And lastly, we should start preparing for the future. Inspired by the recent pandemic, we think that as a society and as a community, we need to prepare for future challenges and crises. Given that Hong Kong has a trust premium with a very efficient management system and highly skilled talent, we envision that Hong Kong can become the next cold storage hub of Asia and facilitate the flow of essential healthcare goods and services between Greater Bay Area and Asia. So by talking about healthcare goods and services, it includes temperature-sensitive vaccines, pharmaceutical products, and advanced therapies. So Hong Kong is also geographically at an advantage by being part of the Greater Bay Area and an international hub in Asia. We think that this idea is really worth exploring and can potentially create around 5,000 jobs by 2030. So I would like to wrap up my presentation with this idea. I think on behalf of my group, I would like to share that healthcare is definitely not an easy issue to solve, but I think through cross-sector collaboration, more discussion, more ideas, that we can reimagine the possibilities. And then now I'd like to pass on to my colleague, Cora, who will talk more about biotechnology.
Thank you, Tiffany. Hello, everyone. My name is Cora, and I work at Community Business. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to share with you our ideas for the biotech industry. Our vision is to turn biotech into the new engine to diversify Hong Kong's economy and create gainful job opportunities for young people. There are three key opportunities for Hong Kong that we should take into account. First, Hong Kong is the world's second largest IPO hub for biotech companies ever since the new listing rules are in place. And with all the overseas and local investments coming to Hong Kong, there is a huge opportunity for us to translate these funds into meaningful technologies serving not just Hong Kong, but for the wider region. And this could be done by leveraging our R&D capabilities at our world-class universities. 5 out of 8 of our universities are among the top 50 globally. And third is for us to remember not just what advantages we have in Hong Kong, but also what pressing social issues we need to tackle using technology. And that is food self-sufficiency. To Chandran's point, the global pandemic has definitely shed light on different trends, especially around rethinking our food supply chain. In Hong Kong, 95% of the food consumed is imported overseas. So there is definitely potential for us to leverage biotech to tackle this challenge. And with that, we need to consider two key challenges. First is the fragmented policy support. There are a lot of great resources, but we lack a platform to centralize all these different schemes and incentives for entrepreneurs and researchers to navigate. Second is the lack of land for R&D and food production, which makes it difficult for new players to enter the field. To leverage biotech, Hong Kong must bridge these gaps. For this reason, we have two proposals. First is to develop an R&D center on a regional level. Our recommendation is to increase the proportion of R&D expenditure from the private sector to over 50% by 2030. The role of the center is to develop an R&D system to serve the region, and that can be done by coordinating all existing funding schemes and also by attracting foreign corporates to set up R&D branches so that Hong Kong no longer just serves as a fundraising hub, but it is a place for them to really further their technology and develop products. And with all these opportunities in Hong Kong, then there is a chance for us to also stimulate STEM teaching and attract students and young people to enter the field. We are confident that this proposal will create more than 10,000 jobs by 2030. And by job opportunities, we mean not just R&D professionals, but also technicians and also opportunities around project management and facility management for this particular center. Second proposal is to increase the food self-sufficiency in Hong Kong. And our proposed target is to produce 30% of the food consumption needs locally by 2030. And to be able to do that, we first need to leverage biotech by investing in R&D to enhance our food production and identify possibly new crops and good technologies for farming. We can also do that by increasing the access to land and infrastructure for conventional and non-conventional farming. For instance, by reforming the land policy to release the unused agricultural land that is in Hong Kong. And with that, we also need to consider increasing the production of mariculture. And obviously, there is a strong element of public education as well to help the public understand and raise awareness over the need for us to support local produce, especially using biotech. And through this policy proposal, we estimate that this will create more than 10,000 jobs in the next 10 years. And this does not limit to just food production, but if we consider how it extends to like the rest of the food supply chain, there will be opportunities for processing and storage, as well as distribution and marketing. So this will be a promising avenue for all different types of jobs for young people from various backgrounds. And that summarizes our recommendations for biotech. And now I'd like to invite my colleague, Alex, to talk about the opportunities for aviation. Alex, please.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon from all over the world. My name is Alex. On behalf of our aviation team, I'm very honored to present to you what we have worked for in the past couple of weeks. Although we are not able to take off to see each other today, but that doesn't stop us from building our big ideas, bold ideas, and proposal. And I'll start with one question. And what do you think of aviation in Hong Kong? Is it our location? Is it our smile? And we strongly believe it's our service excellence. We serve millions of cargo and passenger every year in and out of Hong Kong. And to continue doing that, we need to upgrade and diversify our aviation industry to attract young people. At the moment, we have more than 70,000 of employees in Hong Kong aviation industry. However, we need to widen the job spectrum to let more people know about the options in their career in aviation to maintain Hong Kong's status as a hub. And by doing that, education and training comes hand in hand. We have to equip them with the skills and knowledge so that they can cope with the jobs successfully. And also, with our strategic location in Asia and Hong Kong, it's very important to take advantage to build this integrated platform of manufacturing, technology, and all kinds of professional services with the Greater Bay Area. And last but not least, there's a huge demand in research and development projects, especially in aviation innovation. We have to support these technological solutions in aviation through R&D, and also at the same time, we have to grow the talent pool to support the development. So opportunities does not come without challenges. And first of all, we have to let more people know about the job options in aviation. Because when we talk about aviation, a lot of the young people focus on the frontline roles, especially pilots, cabin crew, flight ops members. And however, there are a lot of other roles, for example, blue-collar roles and high value added positions, especially research and development. We need all kinds of talents to support the aviation industry as a whole. And also, at the moment, education in aviation in Hong Kong is very fragmented at the moment. And one institution teaching vocational training, the other one teaching something else. If I'm one of the young people, I need to have a clear direction about how to get education in aviation to equip myself to get the occupation. And last but not least, and our local R&D, research and development, is still in its infancy stage in aviation. We need to grow that demand worldwide, and also we need to coordinate more closely between the research and development and the business applications. And we think boldly, and our first proposal is we envision to build an international aviation institute. It's a training center worldwide to provide comprehensive, systematic, and industrial-focused training for our young talents and all other stakeholders in the industry. And also, we aim to align different programs to provide full spectrum of education to cater for different levels in aviation. For example, entrance level, professional levels, and top tiers, especially research and development. And last but not least, we would like to work with industry partners, not only to provide on-the-job training, and also the mentorship to make sure our young talents have the knowledge, skills, and experience to take up with the challenges in the industry. And we strongly believe education is the foundation for tomorrow. At the moment, we create hundreds of jobs through this international aviation institute. But over time, mid and long term, we're going to create thousands of jobs, and we're going to equip thousands of people with the relevant knowledge and skills to support our aviation industry. Secondly, we recommend Hong Kong to be the one-stop maintenance, repair, overhaul solution hub. And Hong Kong has been doing very well in MRO already. However, we want to widen that spectrum in MRO. For example, in terms of cutting edge innovation in robotics, in automations, in computer sciences. And we also want to facilitate to commercialize these technologies into business operations. And with one more bold idea under this solution hub is to build another hangar at airside to facilitate aircraft handling capability and also on-the-job training for our local young talents. And last but not least, and we would like to recommend tax incentive scheme to attract foreign businesses to come over to Hong Kong, work with research and development in Hong Kong. And to summarize, we learned from Transient that in the past couple of weeks, small things matters. But in aviation, everything matters. So we strongly recommend to develop education, develop industry, and then to upskill the whole upward mobility and career prospect to our young people, so to attract our young people to come to aviation. And thank you for listening. And next, I'll present our colleague James to talk about urban and green tech. Welcome, James, please.
Thank you, Alex. A very good show for the previous three speakers. He come to urban and green tech. For the past 2 weeks, we've been focusing on this area. The ideas comes out to this vision, pioneering an urban green metropolis of the future for Hong Kong that allows for diversifying job opportunity for the young generation. So under this context, we have discovered some opportunity Hong Kong as to be shrinking off. The world's energy efficiency market is projected to grow by $104 billion US. You will see the market is huge. Under the agenda of the global climate changes and all the sustainable development agendas, Hong Kong have a lot of potential and growing and that specific areas. And second is about the policy commitment are in place to support the city's climate mitigation action. You may hear in the recent 2020 policy address, Hong Kong is strived to achieve the carbon neutrality in 2050. So we strongly believe that leverage the integration with the GBA and the mainland's positioning as the world leading producer of renewable energy is crucial to us. At the same time, when we doing this project, we identified two key challenges actually Hong Kong facing. It may be facing by other metropolis. The high urban density and energy consumption is the matter. Looking with the figures now, is 42,000 of buildings in Hong Kong consume 90% of electricity, which equivalent to 60% of the carbon emission. We're looking the figures on your right. In terms of carbon emission, Hong Kong itself generate almost 44,000 tons huge figure, isn't it? When we compare the other Asian city like Singapore, we are actually generated 90% more than them. And in terms of water, we have consumed 935 million meters squared. But can you imagine that the local reservoir have only half contained water for the people use? We're actually over consumed. So the voice is now and clear. Hong Kong needs to urgently reduce its overall carbon emission to become a climate resilient, livable and sustainable city for future generations to thrive. So the proposal will come to two focus areas. First is the energy sufficiency market. And currently, Hong Kong has 4 types of program, 4 types of a building. They have every 10 years will have an energy audit. But under the opportunity and challenge that we've been described, I think this is not enough. So our first idea is that to introduce a mandate building energy disclosure and reporting system. So the buildings are more involved. They know clearly the carbon emission or the carbon footprint they produce, and we with the target performance. To help the public and for those people who are living in a residential building, also in a commercial building, we try to create a retrofitting financial scheme through the public-private partnership models. So to help them out, to give them solutions to how to save energy in a more effective and efficient manner. And to allow the city to use energy for a more responsible way, we will encourage to introduce a levy on the energy and water consumption. So under these ideas, we estimate that about 10,000 of jobs could be created to build a robust energy efficiency market by reducing energy consumption by 30% in 2030. Our second proposal is very related to our earlier one. And when we get the levy that we introduced earlier, we can set up a green SME fund. Looking to the diagram on your left, when we have the energy and water and waste measured via a smart city data bank, we can manage the city consumption in a more structured and more transparent manner. And then the levy we can start up for those who are incentivized to those who are using less, and also to ask the people who spend more to pay more. And then the money will pour to the green SME fund. Those money could be invested to those green industry or the people who are actually involved in this green business. To name a few, like the green R&D from the primary research of application even to the commercialization. And we also can establish some subsidy for the green youth who actually want to do the green jobs. And also there will be some non-government organization. They can have some community services that the investment could be support. And also for the young generation who are actually invest themselves to shape a better world to stay, and they would like to do the green startup, the money can also be supported in that manner. The last but not the least, I've mentioned that there will be a smart city data bank, right? So actually the job opportunity could be also created in that particular smart city initiative. So looking for those jobs that created, not to mention maybe more, and we can create around 24,000 in that green SME fund initiative. So our target is to establish a one-stop integrated platform bridging private and public sectors for a sustainable green economy. This is my conclusion. You hear 4 of us to introduce our ideas in biotech, healthcare, aviation, as well as my urban technology. the figures will come out by diversifying the economic sectors that we mentioned, and also to create the job opportunity will come to 123,000. So I hope this figure not just only inspire you that the potential this sector can be growth and develop, but it also allow our generation to have more opportunity with more diversifying for the sector to grow. Thank you very much for all the time that you spend with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, James, and thank you to all the presenters. To all of you listening out there, I hope you found the sectoral sort of analysis and the description of the opportunities of interest. I hope policymakers, business leaders in Hong Kong and elsewhere are listening. Some of these are very big ideas. And I said the teams basically presented just the tip of the iceberg. When the full report is done, I hope there will be more, I hope you will see that there are more details. But I also would like to remind everyone that this is not a one-year consultancy done by a large consulting firm. This was done by 21, 22 young people, part-time, working for 2 weeks with a gap of 1 week to do some research, working long hours, and not coming from necessarily specialist areas either. Yet that's, I like to think, is the magic of the process and what creativity and innovation should be. Our sort of guidance to them was don't see any barriers, don't be hindered by any biases or what the status quo might project as possible and what's not possible. So I like to think that some of these ideas to the team too can be expanded even more. So right now, before we get into the Q&A, we're going to invite a couple of people who are international experts who have been observing this, who are friends of GIFT, people who I consider extremely knowledgeable, who have been good advisors to GIFT, even mentors to me, to say a few words, and then we will open it up to questions. The two guests we have is the first I would like to mention is Professor Hide Takahashi-san, who's a good friend of mine. Takahashi-san, good to see you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yeah, and Professor Takahashi-san has been with us on over, I think, 50 programs around the last 10 years. And he's come to us, come with us and joined us in Mongolia, Cambodia, India, and everywhere else. We miss you this year. The second person I'd like to, who will comment is Dr. Jinfeng Zhao. Dr. Jinfeng Zhao is a very esteemed and well-recognized person in China. He's the Secretary General of the China Biodiversity, Conservation, and Green Development Foundation. I've had the privilege of knowing him for a couple of years and have been really astounded by the influence in terms of policy that he has. So many people tend to get the impression that there aren't people, activists in China pushing at the highest levels for change. And Dr. Zhao is that person. And any of you would like to get hold of him later to know what China is doing and how strong his activism is, please do get in touch. So first, can I invite Professor Takahashi-san, who I should also say, I got so carried away by expressing my friendship and love for him that he's actually an esteemed business leader in Japan. Extremely well recognized, on the board of, was on the board of Oryx, which is one of the largest financial institutions in Asia and in Japan, and also previously on the board of NEC, which many of you will know is one of the leading tech companies. And prior to that, he was president of Fuji Xerox. So Takahashi-san, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Chandran, thank you for inviting me to the final presentation. Boy, I feel so at home. You know, sitting in Tokyo, 3,000 kilometers away, this is like old time. As, you know, Chandra mentioned, you know, I was with more than 20 leadership program run by GIFT. So I know how hard it was to go through this, you know, project. So now my big approach goes to the 21 Hong Kong young people who pulled together and came up with great proposal. And I assure you that this experience stay with you for a long time. And when you look back, you will realize how big a cornerstone that was. And please remember it. And before I conclude, I pay my great respect, for those, sponsors who supported this, project in such a difficult year. This is great, proof that, Hong Kong is backing this great, social activities. Okay, at last and not least, I admire the entire staff of GIFT who go through very difficult time, stay with, the all, virtual programs, but by the end of 2020, you pulled it. You pulled, the 4 weeks worth of real program. And I am very proud of you. Thank you, and with my respect.
Thank you, Takahashi-san. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm sure if Takahashi-san was here in person, he'd have 1,000 questions, but we'll ask him to send it to us by email later on so that he can interrogate our ideas and give us more suggestions. And I'm sure he will do it. So thank you very much. Thank you. Now can I invite Dr. Jinfeng Zhao. Dr. Zhao, can you hear us? And we look forward to hearing your comments. Thank you so much.
I'm so honored to participate, and thanks to Chandra and to GIFT. And this is a great lesson for us, and I will do my further works to contribute later on details after I receive the complete works. And my congratulations to the great works and the leadership together with the 21 youth in China. And this works inspired me, and that make me want to add a little bit to what you have done. And first I want to mention about China. I live in Beijing, and in Beijing, we have over 10 million people from outside Beijing to come to Beijing to work, to live. And people from Hong Kong only have a very, very small portion. But those youth in Hong Kong are great in need. Your English, your international backgrounds, your everything. So talking about the employment, about future, you may think about the whole China, not only Hong Kong, but also Beijing, Shanghai, Guangdong. The great area you should have some idea that will have a lot for the productivity of Hong Kong youth, as well as the China's progress. That's one thing. The second is international. I participate in international conference a lot every year, but compared with the Chinese population, there are so few Chinese actively involved in the UN office, in all the conventions, in all the organizations. Chinese mainland people like me, not so good. The English, culture, background, everything. Hong Kong youth have a great potential. We need to go out, we need to participate, we need to play a major role, because our contribution, China's contribution to all those international organizations are increasing very much. And our contribution, not only fund, but also we should contribute our people to participate to the international. So the second is international. That is a great area Hong Kong youth might pay more attention. The third I would like to mention is the eco-civilization. And the new civilization compared with like the agriculture, people in agriculture sector are decreased a lot from agricultural civilization to industry civilization. In the future, more and more people will come out of economic sector, will come into the ecological sector, come to the biodiversity, climate, and all those sectors will need a lot new resources. Hong Kong youth will have a great future in those sectors. And maybe I would like to add these three as a small part for your future leadership program. And thank you, congratulations. I will learn more and will contribute a little bit. Thank you.
Dr. Zhao, thank you very much. Dr. Zhao, I've known usually is a man of few words, but very wise words. Today, I've heard him speak more than usual. And that's because you can tell that he feels a great sense of connectivity with the need for Hong Kong to prosper, and also the ideas that you have all shared. I am sure he will not be too surprised if I say, if you want to get in touch with him, please let me know. I'm sure he will respond. And if you are looking to exercise some of the skills that he said Hong Kong youth people have, and to take it into the wider China context, I am sure he would be very willing to listen to what you are saying. And he particularly talked about the abilities that we talked about Hong Kong's at competitive advantage, which is English language skills and all of those. And he particularly mentioned that in both in terms of opportunities in China and to represent Chinese institutions, etc., globally. So, Dr. Zhao, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, with that, I think it's time to open up the Q&A. So I'm going to invite my colleague, Eric Streisand. So Eric, how are you doing in the back room?
I'm doing great. It was a fantastic presentation. I was super impressed.
Okay, have you got questions for us from Mozambique, Ethiopia, Iran, and all over the world? So well, can we have the first questions?
Yeah, not everybody indicated exactly where they were writing from, but I do have quite a few questions, and the floor is still open. So if you have questions, please feel free to chat them in. I have a question from Albert in Hong Kong with regards to the wellness hubs. And this was also a question which was echoed by at least 2 other people in different variations. So I think it's a good one. And that is essentially really like the idea of community clubhouse wellness hubs. How can we encourage private developers to participate in this? And other related questions, are there ways or how can we mobilize the financial capital towards helping to build the clubhouse infrastructure or otherwise get the private sector to become involved? I think that's a very good question for the healthcare team.
Okay, the healthcare team, we don't just need the presenter to speak. Who would like to come and respond to that question? Any volunteers?
Yeah, so really looking at how to engage the private sector and developers to build the clubhouse infrastructure.
Okay, Hampton is going to come in and speak. Hampton, please. You can just hold the mic and speak. Yeah.
Hi there, this is Hampton from the healthcare team. First of all, thank you very much for your question. And I'd just like to draw your attention to one of the 4 attributes mentioned in the vision for this year's program, which is to be people-centric. Now, a lot of people can interpret that in many different ways, but we do think it starts from the individual level. It starts from every member in society. What do they think in terms of how they might be more other-centric, how they might translate that understanding into meaningful action. So in terms of mobilizing the private sector, we will give more details in the full report, where we back up with quantitative as well as qualitative justification for how we might construct at least 2 clubhouses in every single district in Hong Kong, at least 2. So we're looking at least 50, if not 100 clubhouses spread across Hong Kong To share a figure, currently there are 480 private housing estates in Hong Kong, and 150 of those have private clubhouse facilities. Now imagine that if we could have the whole of Hong Kong sharing those through the community wellness clubhouses we're proposing, and for them to be staffed by youth and run by youth for the community. We want to bring wellness activities not just to a select few in Hong Kong, but to make it fair and equal and have the access to all of Hong Kong who deserve quality wellness activities every single month, every single week, every single day of the year. Thank you for your question.
If I could just complement that as well, one of the things that the group looked at was actually mandating that, both in terms of new developments. So if there's a new development to be made that is 30 floors, you could have the 20th floor essentially dedicated to that. Those are the kind of changes that might be needed. And clearly in terms of public-private partnerships, there are many models by which Hong Kong, which is extremely sophisticated in creating financial instruments, etc., could do this. In terms of older spaces too, there are ways that policies could be put in place that also required refurbishing certain places to do this. And there's no better time to rethink all of these things than during the pandemic and the current crisis of wellness, etc., and mental illnesses. So there'll be more detail in the report. Thank you.
Okay, I have several questions for the aviation team, and one in particular about how do you see the International Aviation Institute to be able to synergize and or complement the existing education institutions being offered here in Hong Kong, specifically aviation-related programs like the Aviation Academy, the Hong Kong Airport Authority, Hong Kong PolyU, or indeed VTC, Vocational Training Council itself. So maybe for the aviation team, you can give a little more background to the Aviation Institute and how you saw that fitting in with the educational landscape in Hong Kong. Thank you.
Well, we've got Ernest from the aviation team who jumped out of his chair, eager to answer this question. So
great, Ernest, it's yours.
Ernest, you ready to go? Okay, so it's Ernest. And anyone else from the team, you're welcome to chip in and support Ernest.
Hi everyone. Thank you for the question regarding the education aspect in aviation. Yes, the proposal ideas in our mind is that we want to build a more comprehensive education hub for aviation. Yes, not only for Hong Kong and also for the region or for the GBA. So what are the things in our mind is that we want to offer a comprehensive set of education opportunities that also cater for the needs for the further future growth in the aviation industry. Yeah, and yes, of course, we want to build like an institute that cover actually different types of courses like vocational training, undergraduate programs. We also want to develop like postgraduate research and development capacities in the institution. But of course, we are not actually ruling out any collaboration opportunities with other existing institutions in Hong Kong. They are actually doing something very good, like in areas like logistics, engineering, and there's also some like very good aviation research centers in Hong Kong. Yes, but I think the idea is that the collaboration is like something that is actually taking place currently in some universities. For example, there are some dual degree programs, some credit transfer arrangement, yes, to create better synergies. So yes, we want to build a strong education hub in Hong Kong, but we don't rule out, and we also leverage on other important resources in Hong Kong to create a greater impact. Yes, hope I answered the question well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think if I may complement that, the report will go into some of the details. We don't have time here, but one of the key things that the team, even in the short time that they looked at it, and through interviews found out was the whole sort of industry in terms of training development is very fragmented. So the idea here is to essentially enhance collaboration, but also use the fact that Hong Kong is positioned as an aviation hub, both for hopefully the GBA and the rest of the region, to actually create a center of excellence that is integrated and brings the best practice and leverages Hong Kong's position. One of the things we did find in some work I was involved in a few months ago was the aviation industry experts themselves were saying that particularly at the blue collar level, there is a real concern that there is not going to be enough people coming into it, partly because the jobs are seen as not attractive and they are low paying. So one of the things is to upscale certification, better salaries, and then the youth find these jobs not to be low class jobs, but actually extremely meaningful work, and that is rewarded accordingly. So that's essentially the basis for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I've got several questions related to the urban and green tech team. So I'm going to try to just synthesize them here. Annie from Hong Kong notes that the Civic Exchange has recently released a report relating to green buildings in Hong Kong. The team may wish to consult the reports. I do believe the team has referenced that in putting together the proposal. And then Fabio, who is in Italy, wonderful to have someone from Milan, Fabio from Milan, Italy joining, thank you. Hong Kong has been unable to substantially reduce our energy consumption in the last couple of decades. So perhaps you could elaborate on some of the details of your proposals. And so perhaps somebody from the urban tech team could address how you looked at buildings, carbon and energy efficiency, with particular reference on creating jobs, because there's a couple of other questions about what types of jobs are related to the carbon redux targets. So there's a few points there, perhaps someone from the urban tech team could take.
And this is one topic I'm not going to speak about.
Hello, this is Rachel from the Urban and Green Tech team. Thank you all for your questions. And referring to Annie, yes, we have actually referred to the Civic Exchange report. It was very insightful. As regards to job creation and how Hong Kong is doing in terms of managing its building energy efficiency. Indeed, we do think it's very challenging. There's a lot of recommendations on how this should be done, but our team would like, what we are suggesting and what we are putting forward is that the government should make it mandatory for all building owners and property developers to disclose their energy consumption. And by doing that, that would incentivize more people to put more resources and efforts in managing their building energy efficiency. And so I think that also kind of links up with another proposal of ours in implementing a energy pricing tax, in which we would incentivize people to reach their performance targets, as well as charge taxation on those who failed or are below par in terms of reaching their performance target. In terms of job creation, there are a variety, including energy audits and consultants. Based on our stakeholder interviews, we do see this as a growing area, and even referring to the a report by the International Energy Agency, we do see that retrofitting in particular has great potential, and that definitely more cities should be putting more focus in growing this sector. Yes. So I hope this answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Despite my promise, can I say one thing?
I can't stop you. Yeah, go ahead, Chandran.
I think if it's the Annie I know, Annie, one of the first things I said is to read the Civic Exchange report. Clearly, one of the things that needs to change is we need to move from a laissez-faire approach to these issues to more tough measures. And that's not just a Hong Kong challenge, it's a global challenge. So the group wanted very tough ways to do this. But at the same time, the fund idea that they created has a lot of detail in it, which you'll see in the report. But that too, Annie, plays to your idea about creating a social environment, carbon decarbonization fund for the city. And I hope when you see the details, you slightly approve of how it might work. Thank you.
I think we have questions for just a couple of more questions. There's an interesting one that is sort of cross-cutting across all four teams. There have been hesitations from the younger generation to join and become involved in the GBA, the Greater Bay Area. Have the participants on the YLP explored the idea of cooperating in the GBA with specific reference to the four initiatives? And kind of attached to that, there's been a couple of questions responding to Professor Zhou Jinfeng, asking, you know, how can the Hong Kong youth play a greater part in China's development? So maybe with reference to the GBA, if one of the teams can share how they looked at that.
These are great questions, and I feel like this is what this program is all about.
Exactly.
Who in the group would like to address that first question about the GBA opportunities and integration? Ernest? This is another Ernest, by the way. It's not. We got two. Ernest. Okay.
Thanks. Thanks for the question about, hi, this is Ernest. So basically the question is about how we can capture and ensure the young people can capture the opportunities in GBA. And I think let's say, give an example of our team, we've been looking at, when we're doing the research, we found out like actually for youth opportunities, it's not just about green jobs, it's about decent jobs. Yeah. So when we're talking about decent jobs, actually there is a very clean layout in terms of traditional, like the current sociology definition, like work-life balance, and also like the compensation, the wage payment, and etc. And also on top of that, there is like a very clear like of the focus of contributing back to society. And I think when we find out that the linkage, actually, this kind of jobs are more like young people focused or young youth centric because they want to contribute to society, not just like for purely wages. And on top of that, they're also focusing on work-life balance. And I think that's like, when we say it's probably cliche, but actually it's true. When we're looking at what actually young people want, it's also the expectation in jobs. And I think that's a clear focus when we're developing this kind of job opportunities around like the 123,000 jobs that we created. We're also looking at, it's not just about purely jobs that is like low skills or people that probably like on not having that kind of futures. Actually, when we're looking at those jobs, it's like talking about decency. And on top of that, not just decency, but also having a prospect of how we grow. And with the GBA, actually, let's say for green jobs, we have a lot of like talent certification that's like cross-border certified. And also like it means once a youth being like working on that particular industry, let's say for urban green tech, there are opportunities not just within Hong Kong, but it's like not just the GBA, but sometimes about like the world as well, because the Hong Kong certification is actually quite well organized and also like have a great reputation around the world. And as we see that when we're creating or suggesting those jobs, it's also not just like focusing on Hong Kong permanently, but also like the prospect, how we grow further and expand to GBA and also like to contribute to entire China and also Greater Asia region as well.
Great.
Yeah. Hope
Thank you.
that answers your questions.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to comment on the questions that Eric said some people had on Professor Zhao's suggestions about integration, wider opportunities in China and all of that? Would anybody else like to comment on that? Anyone on the team? Anybody? Yes, Stella. Thank you. Doctor, I should say.
Hi everyone, I'm Stella from the Vocational Training Council. So when talk about GBA, our team is in biotechnology, by the way. So a lot of people actually doesn't know that in Hong Kong, we don't allow genetic modified or genetic engineered food to trial one or trial test in Hong Kong. So there are actually a lot of R&D available, technology available to increase production and yield of our food product. But they cannot be tested in Hong Kong. So people actually have to go back to China or GBA in order to test these products and to identify manufacturer to produce these food. So I think this is actually quite a big opportunity for R&D people, commercialization, as well as food producers and processor. Because if you look back to Hong Kong actually has a large number of restaurants. We have in 2019, we have over 15,000 restaurants in Hong Kong. So imagine that like if our government is going to mandate Hong Kong to use like locally grown or locally invented food in every one of these restaurants, that we have huge job opportunities. So people will just go into the industry, develop their ideas in China, and then come back to Hong Kong in order to do commercialization or make a living. So I think this is quite a large scale or quite a large industry to, to start up.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you. I think one of the things that quite a lot of people talked about the GBA was Professor Zhao, was the harmonization of standards and regulations, etc. And I'm sure Hong Kong government is working with authorities across the border to look at the harmonization. But I hope we will, in the program, in the report, you will see a few details about the areas of harmonization, both on eco-civilization, in terms of food, and in terms of R&D, etc. And if there's one person who can help with the harmonization, particularly in relation to energy, bioscience, and food, etc., Professor Zhao has, shall I say, the ability to at least bring these ideas to the appropriate channels in China. Okay, Eric, how much time more do we have?
I think we have just about 3 or 4 more minutes if people will stay on. I think there was several questions coming about the proposals around the aging demographic and caregiving. I think this is a very rich area, so there was at least 3 or 4 questions. One in particular, how can we incentivize or encourage the youth to enter the caregiving industry? Will it always rely on importation of staff from other countries, or how to change the perception and make it more attractive for young people to get involved in caregiving? And sort of attached to that is how to kind of narrow the communication gap between the young and older generations.
I think that was essentially the essence of the care agent scheme.
Yes, that's the healthcare team.
Yeah, but can someone from the healthcare team basically just say, that's what you're really looking at, and that's what you're trying to outline? Maybe,
how to shift the perception of the young people to enter the caregiving sector.
Yeah.
Hello, Mark Yan from the Vocational Training Council. Basically, we have incentivized the program by a couple of ways. For example, we want to sandwich a credit-bearing modules into all higher education programs, and then we also pay them with a high-paid part-time job. This is kind of one of the incentives. And then we also promote positive youth development and concepts. We want them to connect with the aging populations, and then provide them the opportunities to connect with intergeneration experience. And then this also what we think of a kind of social responsibility and positive youth development program, a part of the positive youth development program. And this is what we have to think of. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's all the time that we have. So Chandran, if you want to maybe wrap up.
Yes, what I like to now do, and that particular instance, the idea will be fleshed out in the report. But the whole point is that young people see caregiving as a sort of low-paid, unattractive, and kind of messy job. So the education side is essentially create a mindset shift to bring that sense that there is actually good jobs there, but it is also meaningful jobs, and that's come out in the vision. How to change a society into thinking about things in a different way. And then, of course, you have to meet their economic aspirations too, so that people are attracted to it. So we got to wrap this up, and what I'm going to do is just invite each group to just come and say hello. And so on the first team I'm going to invite is the healthcare group, so you can all see them, the healthcare group. Just say your names.
It's Tiffany again, so hello.
It's Candice again.
From where?
From Invest Hong Kong.
Yes, okay.
Hello, this is Helen from the Hong Kong Education Institute, UST. Yeah, hello.
This is Hampton from the New Heritage Group. Hey guys.
This is Mark Yan from the Vocational Training Council.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite the biotech team. Okay, you guys want to introduce yourselves quickly with the mics? Yeah.
Hello, this is Vicky from the Hong Kong Federation of Youth Group.
Hi, this is Cora from Community Business.
Louder, guys.
Hello, this is Kachin from HKUST.
Hello, this is Laura from Invest Hong Kong.
Hi, this is Stella from the Vocational Training Council.
Hi, this is Brian Rennie from Hong Kong Rugby Union. Thank you for listening to us today.
Brian is a very special specimen in the group here. He's the only non-Hong Kong person, but I hope we've treated you with love and respect. Yes, thank you. Next, the aviation team. Okay, introductions.
Hello, this is Mandy from Hong Kong Rugby Union, 香港男總.
Hello, this is Xiaoxi from Oxfam Hong Kong, 乐视会.
Hi, this is Catherine from Invest Hong Kong again.
Hi, Ernest from Save the Children Hong Kong.
Hello, it's Alex again from Glide. We are a travel tech startup, and you can check us out on social media.
That's the attitude. That's what we want. That's what we want. Thank you. Thank you. A little bit of pitch. And last but not least, the urban and green tech team.
So hello, this is Ernest from Acer. So we are running AR and VR game startups for special education needs children.
Very important little startup he's got going.
Hello, this is Rachel from Social Ventures Hong Kong.
Hello, this is Carmen from Poland Corp, MC of today as well.
Yes.
Hello, this is Leon from Hong Kong USD.
Hi, James from the VTC. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Okay, I think that I have now to just say a few closing remarks. Firstly, to all the participants, extremely well done. Last night, yesterday, I think people were feeling a great sense of pain in going through this process and doing it, but you've done a remarkable job. And I think you can see from the quality of the questions we got that these are substantive ideas. And but I remind everyone who's listening, this is not a full-blown consultancy, but there'll be enough detail in here for everyone to take heed of, and hopefully policymakers. I know there are various people from the Hong Kong government who are listening to this, and I hope and the private sector will take this up. I would also like to thank all the people who sponsored some of this activity and made this possible. The full report will be tidied up now over the next 3-4 weeks, and we will make it available as in terms of open source. We don't hold the rights to it, and so we'll keep it available. Clearly, everyone who signed up, who's listened up to this, if you like a link to the final report, please let us know, and we will send it to you. Please disseminate it as widely as you can. I'd also like to thank a couple of people who worked very hard on this and who are back in the GIFT office in Hong Kong. So thank you to them. I'd like to thank the GIFT team, but I also like to thank John Shelley, who took time off, ex-banker, so the board of Standard Chartered China, who took time off to come here and mentor the team. Next year, we hope to do the same, have a lot of more mentors, but we hope that before next year, at least 2 of these ideas get taken further by policymakers. So thanks everyone, every one of you. We miss you all. We hope next year's thing will be in person, and we hope from a GIFT point of view, we hope we will be doing our experiential programs back in the field. And so please stay safe. Despite the challenges this year, life is beautiful. So please enjoy, and thank you for your support. We appreciate it greatly. Thank you.